Hayes opened his eyes at precisely 7 a.m., his internal clock as reliable as the Swiss watches he collected. The first thing that registered was the absence, the cold, empty space beside him where Olivia should have been sleeping. In their 5 years of marriage, she had never risen before 10 a.m. on a Sunday. His hand traced the untouched pillow, noting the lack of indentation. The sheets held no lingering warmth. She hadn't slept here at all. Ethan rose from the bed, his movements deliberate and controlled. He walked through their penthouse apartment, each step measured, his mind already calculating possibilities. The kitchen gleamed with its unused appliances. Olivia's idea of cooking was arranging takeout on their designer plates. A bright yellow post-it note stuck to the refrigerator caught his attention. The message, written in Olivia's flowing script, read, "Goodbye, loser. Never loved you anyway." Ethan plucked the note from the fridge, studying the handwriting. The slight tremor in the Y, the harder press of the pen on loser, signs of emotional distress when writing. His lips curved into a slight smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Wrong move, Olivia," he murmured, pulling out his phone to take a picture of the note before carefully placing it in a clear evidence bag from his home office. In his study, Ethan unlocked his computer and pulled up their financial records. The screen's blue light illuminated his face as he scrolled through transaction after transaction. Small withdrawals scattered across different ATMs. Expensive hotel charges. Restaurant bills for 2 at intimate venues where he'd never been. A notification popped up on his screen. Another charge at the Ritz-Carlton. Ethan didn't block it. Instead, he opened a new spreadsheet and began logging each transaction, building a pattern of betrayal in neat rows and columns. His phone buzzed, a text from Ava. "Got the footage you requested. You were right. They've been meeting at the gym for months." Ethan's fingers flew across the keyboard, typing his response. "Send everything to my secure server." "And Ava? Thank you." He leaned back in his chair, remembering the moment 3 months ago when he'd first discovered Olivia's infidelity. A carelessly unlocked phone. A message preview that read, "Can't wait to feel your hands on me again, Dex." He'd replaced the phone in her purse, said nothing, and begun planning. The doorbell rang. Ethan checked his security camera feed. His father, Daniel Hayes, stood in the hallway, exactly on time for their scheduled meeting. "Son." Daniel greeted him with a firm handshake. His father's lawyer's eyes took in every detail of Ethan's composed demeanor. "You said it was urgent, Dad." Ethan led him to the study. "I need your legal expertise." "Olivia's gone." Daniel's expression remained neutral, but his eyes sharpened. "Gone?" Ethan handed him the note in its evidence bag. "She left this morning. But that's not all." He pulled up the financial records on his screen. "I've been tracking her activities for the past 3 months. She's been having an affair with her personal trainer." Daniel studied the records, his years of legal experience evident in his methodical analysis. "You've been gathering evidence. Everything's documented. Bank records, hotel receipts, surveillance footage. I have text messages, emails, photos." Ethan's voice remained steady. "I want everything ready before we file for divorce." "You're handling this very systematically," Daniel observed. Ethan's eyes met his father's. "She thought I was weak, that I wouldn't fight back. She's about to learn how wrong she was." Meanwhile, across town at the Ritz-Carlton, Olivia Hayes stretched luxuriously in a king-sized bed, her perfectly manicured nails trailing across Dex Riley's muscled chest. "I wish you could have seen his face when he read that note," she giggled, reaching for her phone to check her social media notifications. Poor, pathetic Ethan, probably crying into his spreadsheets right now. Dex pulled her closer, his trainer's physique on full display. "Baby, you deserve so much better than that boring number cruncher. Just wait until we get access to your share of the assets. We'll live like royalty." Olivia's face fell as her credit card declined on a room service order. "That's weird," she muttered, trying another card. "Declined again." "Don't worry about it," Dex assured her, kissing her neck. "We'll use my card." His confident smile faltered when his payment was also rejected. In his home office, Ethan watched the hotel's charges being declined through his banking app. He opened his email, sending a carefully worded message to his network of financial contacts. By tomorrow, no bank in the city would touch Dex Riley's name. The quiet storm was building, and Ethan Hayes was controlling the winds. Chapter 2. The Calculated Moves. The early morning light filtered through the windows of Ethan's home office as he initiated a series of carefully planned financial maneuvers. His fingers moved across the keyboard with precision, each keystroke another piece in his intricate revenge puzzle. Transfer complete, Ava's voice came through his earpiece. She'd been working through the night, helping him move funds between accounts. The dummy corporation is set up, and all your personal assets are secured. Olivia won't be able to touch any of it. What about the jewelries? Ethan asked, his voice calm despite the millions being moved around. Your contact at Christie's confirmed the auction date. The pieces from the safe deposit box will be sold next week. All proceeds will go to your joint account, the only one you're leaving accessible to her. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. Perfect. She'll think she still has access to our money. How long until she notices the real accounts are empty? Given her spending habits, I'd give it 2 days max. A notification pinged on Ethan's screen. Another charge attempt at a luxury boutique. Declined. He imagined Olivia's face reddening with embarrassment, her perfectly maintained composure cracking in front of store employees. His mind wandered back to the day he'd first met Olivia. She'd been stunning, of course. She'd built her entire identity around being stunning. But it was her apparent vulnerability that had drawn him in. The way she'd looked at him like he was her savior, her protector. The memory shifted to 6 months ago, when he'd first noticed the changes. Designer bags he hadn't bought her. Expensive dinners on nights she claimed to be with her girlfriends. The subtle scent of unfamiliar cologne when she returned from her workout sessions. Ethan's phone buzzed, a text from his mother, Margaret. Coming over for dinner tonight? I'm worried about you. He typed back, I'll be there. Don't worry, Mom. Everything's under control. The security feed on his second monitor showed Olivia and Dex entering another high-end store. He switched on the audio from the spyware he'd installed on her phone. I don't understand, Olivia's voice crackled through the speaker. The account should be fine. That pathetic excuse for a husband doesn't have the spine to cut me off. Dex's voice followed, tension evident in his tone. Baby, maybe we should lay low for a few days. Until we figure out what's going on. No. I deserve nice things. Ethan owes me for all the years I wasted pretending to love him. Ethan closed the audio feed and opened his secure messenger to Ava. Time for phase 2. Release the first set of photos. Across town, Olivia's phone exploded with notifications. Her social media followers were sharing photos of her and Dex together, dated months back. Her carefully curated image of devoted wife was unraveling post by post. The doorbell rang, and Ethan checked the security feed to see his parents standing outside. He buzzed them in, straightening his tie as he went to greet them. Margaret rushed to hug him. Oh, sweetheart. Are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. He returned the hug, meeting his father's knowing gaze over her shoulder. Daniel closed the door behind them. You've started the process. It wasn't a question, but Ethan nodded anyway. Everything's in motion. The funds are secured, the evidence is documented, and the divorce papers are being drawn up. They moved to the living room, where Margaret noticed Olivia's photos were already removed from the walls. How long have you known? She asked softly. 3 months. Ethan's voice was steady. I needed time to prepare everything properly. 3 months. Margaret's eyes widened. You've been living with her, knowing she was unfaithful? Yes. Ethan's smile was cold. I learned from Dad. Never make a move until you're fully prepared. Daniel nodded approvingly. The evidence? Overwhelming. Bank records showing her withdrawals to pay for hotel rooms. Surveillance footage from the hotels. Text messages. Emails. Photos. Ethan pulled out his tablet, showing them the organized files. And now, thanks to her little goodbye note, abandonment, have you contacted the police? Margaret asked. Not yet. I'm waiting for her to make the first move. She will, once she realizes she can't access the main accounts. As if on cue, Ethan's phone rang. Olivia's face flashing on the screen. He put it on speaker. "You bastard," her voice filled the room. "How dare you cut off my cards? I'll ruin you for this." "Olivia," Ethan's voice was calm, almost amused. "I see you've discovered there are consequences to your actions." "Consequences? I'll show you consequences. I'll tell everyone what an abusive, controlling monster you are." "You mean like you told Dex I was a pathetic loser? Or like you told your Instagram followers I was a loving husband?" Ethan's tone remained level. "Be careful with false accusations, Olivia. They might constitute defamation. You've been spying on me? Goodbye, Olivia. I'm sure my lawyer will be in touch." He ended the call, meeting his parents' concerned gazes. "She'll try to turn this around," Daniel warned. "Let her try." Ethan pulled up another file on his tablet. "I have recordings of her bragging to Dex about how she's going to take me for everything I'm worth." The timestamps matched the hotel charges perfectly. Margaret touched his hand. "I never liked her, you know. She wasn't good enough for you." "I know, Mom. I should have seen it sooner." He squeezed her hand. "But don't worry. She's about to learn exactly who she was dealing with." Chapter 3. The pieces fall into place. Detective Isabella Izzy Ramirez stood in her office, studying the report on her desk. A missing person case. Olivia Hayes, social media influencer, reported missing by an anonymous tip. The timestamp on the report matched perfectly with a series of suspicious financial transactions. Her phone buzzed, a text from her partner. "You need to see this. Hayes residence. ASAP." 20 minutes later, she pulled up to an elegant apartment building, noting the expensive cars in the parking lot. The doorman directed her to the penthouse, where she found Ethan Hayes sitting calmly in his living room, looking more like he was preparing for a business meeting than a police interview. "Mr. Hayes," she introduced herself, studying his composed features. "I'm Detective Ramirez. We received a report about your wife." "Ah, yes." Ethan's voice was steady, his expression concerned but not panicked. "Olivia left early this morning. She left a note." He handed her the evidence bag containing the post-it. Izzy raised an eyebrow at the professional handling of evidence. "You preserved the note." "I'm a careful man, Detective. I believe in protecting myself." Something in his tone made her look up sharply. "Protecting yourself from what, Mr. Hayes?" "My wife has been making concerning financial decisions lately. I simply ensure everything is documented." Izzy pulled out her notebook. "When did you last see Mrs. Hayes?" "Last night, around 11 p.m. She said she was tired and went to bed early." His lips curved slightly. "I worked late in my study. Financial reports, you understand. And you didn't check on her during the night? We sleep in separate rooms when I work late. I don't like to disturb her beauty rest." His tone was perfectly polite, but Izzy caught the hint of sarcasm. Her phone buzzed again, a message from the Financial Crimes Unit. Multiple fraud alerts on Olivia Hayes' credit cards. Large withdrawals from joint accounts over the past 3 months. "Mr. Hayes, are you aware of any financial irregularities in your accounts?" "Detective, I'm a financial analyst. I'm aware of everything that happens with my money." He opened his laptop, turning it to show her a spreadsheet. "Would you like to see the exact records?" The level of detail was impressive. Dates, times, locations, amounts. All meticulously documented. "You've been tracking your wife's spending?" "I track all spending, Detective. It's what I do." A notification popped up on his screen. Another declined transaction at a luxury hotel. Ethan didn't react, but Izzy noticed his finger tap once on the desk. Her instincts were screaming that there was more to this story. Across town, Ava Carter sat in her tech-filled home office, monitoring multiple screens. One showed Olivia's social media feeds, where comments were pouring in about the leaked photos. Another displayed real-time transaction attempts from various cards. Her phone lit up with a text from Ethan. "Detectives here. Proceed with Phase 3. Ava smiled, her fingers flying across the keyboard. Within minutes, Olivia's private messages to Dex began appearing on various social media platforms. The carefully crafted image of the perfect influencer couple was disintegrating post by post. At the Ritz-Carlton, Olivia was screaming into her phone, while Dex paced the room. "What do you mean you can't help? She shrieked at her bank representative. "I'm Olivia Hayes. Do you know how much money we have in your bank?" "I apologize, Mrs. Hayes, but these holds were placed by the primary account holder. There's nothing we can do without Mr. Hayes's authorization." "Primary account? That's impossible. We're married." "They're joint accounts." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but according to our records, you're only authorized on one account, which contains the proceeds from recently sold jewelry." Olivia threw her phone across the room, her perfect makeup streaked with tears. "This isn't happening. He can't do this to me." Dex caught her hands. "Baby, calm down. We'll figure this out. You said it yourself, he's weak. He'll give in if you pressure him. You don't understand." She pulled away from him. "The way he's doing this isn't the Ethan I knew. He's always been so passive." Back at the penthouse, Detective Ramirez was wrapping up her initial interview. "One more question, Mr. Hayes. Why haven't you tried to contact your wife?" Ethan's smile was subtle but cold. "Detective, when someone tells you they never loved you, continuing to pursue them seems rather pathetic, don't you think?" Something in his tone made her pause. "You don't seem very upset about your wife's disappearance." "On the contrary, Detective. I'm devastated that my wife chose to abandon our marriage." His eyes met hers directly. "But I'm not the kind of man who falls apart when faced with betrayal. I prefer to focus on protecting what's mine." After Ramirez left, Ethan called Ava. "Is everything ready?" "All set," she confirmed. "The spyware is working perfectly. Every message, every call, every location. We're tracking it all." "And Ethan?" "She's panicking." "Good." He opened his laptop, reviewing the latest transactions. "Keep monitoring. They'll try something desperate soon." "What about the detective?" "She suspects something, but she has nothing concrete." "And that's exactly how I want it." He pulled up the surveillance feed from the Ritz-Carlton lobby. Olivia and Dex were arguing with the hotel staff, their carefully maintained public personas cracking under the strain. Soon they'd be desperate enough to make a mistake. Ethan picked up a framed photo from his desk, their wedding day. He'd been so proud, so in love. Now he saw what he'd missed back then. The calculation in Olivia's smile, the way her eyes darted to the expensive rings rather than his face. "Your first mistake," he murmured, placing the photo face down in a drawer, "was thinking I was weak. Your last mistake was proving me right about you." The sun was setting over the city as Ethan prepared for the next phase of his plan. Everything was proceeding exactly as he'd calculated. Now all he had to do was wait for Olivia and Dex to play their parts in their own undoing. Chapter 4. The Unraveling. Daniel Hayes sat at his mahogany desk, reviewing the mountain of evidence his son had compiled. Text messages, bank statements, hotel receipts, surveillance photos, each piece adding another nail to Olivia's coffin. He picked up his phone and dialed his most trusted colleague. "James? I need you to expedite those divorce papers we discussed. And contact Judge Morrison. We'll need those emergency orders processed immediately." Across town, Olivia stared at her frozen bank accounts, her manicured nails drumming against the desk at her favorite salon. "What do you mean? Account restricted? Try it again." The receptionist shifted uncomfortably. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Hayes, but your card has been declined multiple times." Olivia's face flushed red as other customers turned to stare. She grabbed her phone, dialing Dex's number. "Baby, we have a problem. That bastard's frozen everything." Dex's voice cracked with strain. "My accounts too. I can't even access my gym payment system. All my clients' subscriptions are being refunded automatically."
"How?"
"He's just a number-crunching nerd. He can't do this to us. I'm calling my contacts. Someone will help us." But Dex's voice lacked its usual confidence. In his office, Ethan watched their mounting panic through the spyware feed. A notification popped up, another failed attempt by Dex to access his business accounts. Ethan's fingers flew across the keyboard, sending another set of damaging screenshots to Ava. "Release these to their top followers," he instructed. "Start with the ones who pay them the most for promotions." Detective Ramirez sat at her desk, spreading out the case files. Something about Ethan Hayes's behavior nagged at her. His reactions were too perfect, too measured. She pulled up his background check, Squeaky clean, successful career, respected in his field. But there was an edge to him that set off her instincts. Her partner dropped a new file on her desk. You need to see this. Hayes' wife? She's been spotted at multiple locations around the city. She's not missing, she's hiding. Ramirez flipped through the surveillance photos. He knew exactly where she was the whole time. Want to bring him in for questioning?
Not yet.
Let's see what game he's playing. At their hotel room, Dex paced frantically, his phone pressed to his ear. Come on, Marcus, I need this favor. Just a small loan until he pulled the phone away, staring at the screen. He hung up on me. Olivia lay on the bed, scrolling through her social media. Her latest post, usually flooded with likes and supportive comments, was filled with screenshots of her secret messages with Dex, dating back months. Her sponsorship deals were disappearing one by one. He's destroying us, she whispered. How is he doing this? The Ethan I knew could barely stand up for himself in public. Dex's face darkened. I'm going to pay him a visit. Show him what happens when he messes with me.
No.
You don't understand. Something's different about him. The way he spoke to me on the phone, she shuddered. He's not the same person. At his penthouse, Ethan reviewed the latest reports from his private investigators. They documented each of Dex's failed attempts to secure loans, each of Olivia's declining cards, each lost sponsorship deal. He sent the updates to his father. Daniel called within minutes. The divorce papers are ready. Judge Morrison has agreed to expedite the proceedings given the evidence of financial fraud, and the restraining order already in place. If either of them comes near you, they'll be arrested immediately. Ethan smiled coldly. They won't be able to afford bail. A notification lit up his phone. Detective Ramirez requesting another interview. He texted back his agreement, already planning his responses. Letter suspect. She had nothing concrete, and he'd accounted for her investigation in his plans. Ava's voice came through his earpiece. Ethan, you need to see this. Dex just posted a video threatening you publicly. It's getting traction. Perfect. Forward it to his gym's corporate office. And alert building security. He'll try something stupid soon. You think he'll actually come here? I'm counting on it. Ethan pulled up the building's security feeds. People like Dex are predictable when they're desperate. And he's very, very desperate. The security desk called up. Mr. Hayes? There's a Mr. Riley here demanding to see you. He's becoming aggressive. Let him up. And start recording. Minutes later, Dex burst through the office door, his gym-built muscles tensed for confrontation. You think you can ruin me? You're nothing but a pathetic. He stopped short. Ethan hadn't even looked up from his computer. Mr. Riley, I assume you're here about your frozen accounts. Ethan's voice was cold, professional. Or perhaps the video you just posted threatening physical violence against me. Corporate headquarters found that particularly interesting. You smug bastard. Dex stepped forward menacingly. Ethan finally looked up, his eyes as hard as steel. 3 steps closer, and you'll be arrested for violating the restraining order. Your choice. Dex faltered, seeing none of the weakness he'd expected. You can't do this to us. Olivia, my wife. Ethan's smile was predatory. The one who's been stealing from our accounts to fund your little affair? Or the one who's about to be charged with financial fraud? Be specific. She loves me, not you. We're going to what? Run away together. Ethan pulled up a document on his screen. With what money? Your accounts are frozen. Your gym is terminating your contract due to threats of violence. Your clients are leaving in droves. He leaned forward. Face it, Dex. You're finished. I'll kill you. Dex lunged forward. Ethan pressed a button on his desk. 2 security guards appeared instantly, grabbing Dex's arms. As predicted. Detective? Did you get all that? Detective Ramirez stepped out from the adjacent room, holding up a recording device. Threats of violence, violation of a restraining order, attempted assault. That's quite a list, Mr. Riley. As the guards dragged Dex away, Ethan turned back to his computer. Detective? There's something else you should see. Evidence of their plan to flee the country with stolen funds. I think that falls under your jurisdiction. Ramirez studied him carefully. You orchestrated this whole thing. I merely provided an opportunity for Mr. Riley to reveal his true nature. Ethan met her gaze steadily. Everything he did, he chose to do himself. After they left, Ethan called Olivia. Your boyfriend just got himself arrested, he informed her calmly. I suggest you think carefully about your next move. Her voice shook with fury and fear. What do you want from me? Want? Nothing. I simply want you to experience the consequences of your choices. He paused. Oh, and Olivia? Check your social media. Those private videos you sent Dex? Not so private anymore. He hung up, listening to the quiet of his office. Phase 1 of Act 2 was complete. Now for the real destruction to begin. Chapter 5: The Escalation. Olivia Hayes stared at her phone in horror as her social media empire crumbled. Each notification brought a new disaster. Another sponsor dropping her, another follower abandoning ship, another private message exposed to the world. Her carefully curated image of perfection shattered with each passing minute. No, no, no. She threw her phone across the hotel room. This can't be happening.
But it was.
Her latest video, posted just hours ago, was flooded with comments exposing her affair, her spending habits, her lies. Screenshots of her messages with Dex spread like wildfire across multiple platforms. Her followers were jumping ship by the thousands. In his command center, Ethan monitored the fallout through multiple screens. Ava's voice came through his headset. Her main sponsors just pulled out. The cosmetics company is demanding she return their latest payment.
Good.
What about Dex? Still in custody. No one's posted his bail. His gym just announced they're terminating his contract due to behavior unbecoming of their brand. Ethan nodded, satisfaction coursing through him. Keep pushing. I want them both radioactive by sunrise. The spyware on Olivia's phone captured her desperate calls to her influencer friends. One by one, they rejected her, unwilling to risk their own brands by association. Her world was collapsing, and he watched it all in real time. At the police station, Detective Ramirez reviewed the footage of Dex's assault attempt. His threats were clear, his violence undeniable. But something about the setup bothered her. He knew exactly how Dex would react, she mused to her partner. Had the camera angles perfect, security in place, even made sure I was there to witness it. Hayes is definitely playing chess while these two are playing checkers, her partner agreed. But everything he's done is legal. Meticulous, calculating, but legal.
That's what worries me.
No one's this perfect unless they've planned for everything. Back at the hotel, Olivia sat in the dark, her makeup streaked with tears. Her phone buzzed with another notification, her beauty brand partnership canceled, effective immediately. The contract breach penalties would cost her thousands she didn't have. In her despair, she opened her medicine cabinet. The pills seemed to offer an escape from this nightmare. Her hand shook as she opened the bottle. The hotel room door burst open. Dex, fresh from posting bail, grabbed the pills from her hand.
No.
This is exactly what he wants. Dex pulled her into his arms. We can't let him win. But his voice cracked with desperation. His own phone was blowing up with canceled client contracts and threats of legal action. Their perfect world was burning down around them. Olivia pushed away from him suddenly. This is your fault. You pushed me to leave him. Said we'd be fine. That he was too weak to fight back. Her laugh was hysterical. Weak? He's destroying us piece by piece. Olivia, baby, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. She slapped him hard across the face. My life is ruined. Everything I built, my followers, my sponsors, my reputation, it's all gone. At his penthouse, Ethan watched their argument through the spyware feed, sipping his whiskey. A text from Ava popped up. Ready for phase 2? He typed back, execute. Across social media platforms, new videos began to surface. Olivia mocking her followers in private messages. Dex bragging about scamming his clients with fake workout plans. Their most toxic moments exposed for all to see. The response was immediate and brutal. Their remaining followers fled in disgust. Clients announced lawsuits against Dex's training programs. Olivia's brand deals vanished completely. Detective Ramirez's phone buzzed with an anonymous tip, evidence of financial fraud in Dex's training business. Client payments diverted, fake accounts, doctored results. A gold mine for prosecution. She looked up at her evidence board, where Ethan's photo sat at the center of a web of connections. "You're quite the puppet master, Mr. Hayes," she murmured. "But no one pulls strings this perfectly without leaving traces." In his office, Ethan reviewed the latest reports. Olivia and Dex's combined net worth had dropped to almost nothing. Their reputations were in tatters. Their future earning potential was effectively zero. His father called with updates on the divorce proceedings. "The judge is ready to freeze all remaining assets. She's particularly interested in the evidence of financial fraud." Perfect. "And the restraining orders?" "Ironclad. They can't come within 100 yards of you without facing immediate arrest." Ethan allowed himself a small smile. "They'll try anyway. People like that always do." As if on cue, his security system pinged, Olivia approaching the building. He pulled up the lobby camera feed to watch the show. She looked nothing like the polished influencer she'd once been. Her designer clothes were wrinkled, her makeup smeared, her hair unkempt. The security guard stopped her at the desk. "I need to see my husband." Her voice was shrill, desperate. "Ethan, I know you can see me." Through the lobby speakers, his voice came cold and clear. "Mrs. Hayes, you are in violation of a restraining order. The police have been called. I suggest you leave immediately." "You bastard. You can't do this to me. I made you what you are."
No, Olivia.
"You simply showed me what I needed to become." As the police led her away, Ethan turned back to his monitors. Another piece in place, another step toward total destruction. The web was tightening, and his prey were struggling exactly as he'd planned. Chapter 6: The Turning Point. Daniel Hayes stood before Judge Morrison, his presence commanding respect in the courtroom. "Your Honor, we seek an immediate freeze on all remaining assets. The evidence of financial fraud is substantial." The judge reviewed the documents, her expression growing darker with each page. "These transactions, the patterns are clear." "How long has this been going on?" "Months, Your Honor. My client discovered the systematic theft of funds, unauthorized access to accounts, and a clear conspiracy to defraud." In the gallery, Olivia sat with her court-appointed attorney, her designer clothes replaced by off-the-rack business wear. Her attempted assault charge had left her with few legal options and even fewer lawyers willing to represent her. The judge looked up from the papers. "Mrs. Hayes, these allegations are extremely serious. Do you understand that you're facing potential criminal charges?" Olivia's voice trembled. "Your Honor, I can explain." "Save it for your criminal trial." The judge cut her off. "Motion granted. All assets are frozen pending further investigation." Outside the courthouse, Detective Ramirez waited in her car, watching Olivia emerge. The once confident influencer now moved like a hunted animal, jumping at shadows. Ramirez's partner handed her a new file. "You need to see this." Hayes didn't just track their spending, he's got recordings. Hours of them planning to drain the accounts and flee the country. "Of course he does." Ramirez started the car. "He's been 10 steps ahead this whole time. Question is, what's his endgame?" At his penthouse command center, Ethan monitored multiple screens showing surveillance feeds, financial transactions, and social media activity. Ava's voice came through his headset. Their latest attempt to open new accounts was blocked. They're completely cut off. And the offshore accounts they thought I didn't know about? Frozen. The banks were very interested in our evidence of money laundering. Ethan nodded, satisfaction coursing through him. What about their travel plans? They bought tickets to the Cayman Islands using one of Dex's old credit cards. Flights in 3 days. Let them think they're getting away. Have you planted the bait?
Yes.
They'll find the hidden account tomorrow. Just enough money to make them think they have a chance. A notification pinged. Another failed attempt by Olivia to access their old accounts. Her desperation was palpable even through the digital footprints she left behind. In their cheap motel room, a far cry from their previous luxury hotels, Olivia and Dex hunched over a laptop, searching for any accounts they might still access. There has to be something, Dex muttered, his muscled frame tense with frustration. No one can lock down everything. Olivia's laugh was bitter. You still don't get it, do you? He's not the weak little man you thought he was. He's been playing us from the start. Nobody plays me. Dex slammed the laptop shut. I'm not letting some pencil-pushing nerd destroy everything we built. We built. Olivia's voice dripped venom. You mean what Ethan built? What I had before you convinced me to throw it all away. Don't put this on me. You were the one who said he'd never fight back, that he'd give you whatever you wanted in the divorce. Their argument was interrupted by a notification on Dex's phone. His eyes widened as he read the message. I found something. An account we missed. Looks like he didn't get everything. Olivia rushed to look at the screen. How much? Enough to get us out of the country. Start over somewhere new. Neither noticed the small tracking program activating on their device, sending their conversation directly to Ethan's servers. In his office, Ethan watched their reaction to finding his planted bait. They took it, he informed Ava through their secure line. Start monitoring all travel arrangements. Already on it. They're looking at flights to countries without extradition treaties. Detective Ramirez sat at her desk, reviewing new evidence. A junior officer dropped another file on her desk. Another report about Hayes's wife. She and her boyfriend were spotted at the airport, checking flight prices. Ramirez leaned back in her chair. He's letting them think they can escape. But why? She spread out her case notes, trying to see the bigger picture. Hayes had orchestrated every detail of their downfall, the financial collapse, the social media destruction, the legal troubles. Each move precisely calculated for maximum impact. What are you planning, Hayes? She murmured, studying his photo on her board. In his study, Ethan met with his father to review their progress. The divorce proceedings are on track, Daniel reported. Given the evidence of fraud, the judge is inclined to award you everything. And the criminal charges? The prosecutor is very interested in their financial crimes. The evidence is overwhelming. Ethan nodded, satisfied. They'll try to run before the charges are filed. Let them think they can. Son, Daniel hesitated. Are you sure about this next phase? Once it's done. They need to learn actions have consequences, Dad. Real ones. Across town, Olivia and Dex huddled in their motel room, planning their escape. Once we access that account, we'll move fast, Dex said, pacing the room. Get to the airport, buy tickets with cash, and disappear. What about our passports? Won't they be flagged? I know a guy who can help with that. For the right price. Olivia stared at their reflection in the grimy motel mirror, her designer clothes now wrinkled, his expensive watch replaced by a cheap knockoff. How did it all go so wrong? It's not over, Dex insisted. We'll start fresh somewhere else. Build it all back up. You still don't get it. Olivia laughed bitterly. This is exactly what he wants. He's letting us think we have a chance. In his command center, Ethan watched their desperate planning with cold satisfaction. Everything was proceeding according to his calculations. Their predictable desperation, their desperate predictability, all playing into his hands. Detective Ramirez's phone buzzed with a text from her informant at the airport. Hayes's wife had been asking about private charter flights, paying cash for information about customs procedures. He's got them running scared, her partner observed. Want to bring them in?
Not yet.
Ramirez studied her evidence board. Let's see where Hayes is steering them. The sun set over the city as Act 2 drew to a close. In his penthouse, Ethan prepared for the final phase of his plan. The pieces were in place, the trap was set. All that remained was for his prey to take the final, fatal step into the abyss he'd prepared for them. He picked up a framed photo from his desk their wedding day. The last time he'd been weak, trusting, vulnerable. Never again. Game over, he murmured, dropping the photo into his shredder. Chapter 7. The Execution. Ethan sat in his command center, multiple screens displaying surveillance feeds of Olivia and Dex scrambling to book their escape flights. His trap was set, each detail precisely arranged for maximum impact. The bait account is ready, Ava reported through their secure channel. I've made it look like a forgotten investment portfolio. Once they access it, the tracking protocols will activate, and the fake passports? planted exactly where they'll find them. My contact confirmed they're already asking around about document forgers. Ethan pulled up the spyware feed from Olivia's phone. Their desperate conversations played out in real time. Each word, each plan, each moment of false hope feeding directly into his hands. Baby, look at this. Olivia's voice crackled through the speaker. An old investment account he must have forgotten. There's enough here to get us out. Start over somewhere new. Are you sure it's real? Dex sounded suspicious. He's been 3 steps ahead of us this whole time. It has to be real. The account details match his old portfolios. We just need to transfer the funds and run. In his office, Detective Ramirez reviewed the latest surveillance reports. Her intuition screamed that Hayes was orchestrating something bigger than simple revenge. Her partner knocked on her door. Got those financial records you wanted? Hayes has been moving money through a complex web of accounts, all legal, but designed to be found by someone looking hard enough. He's laying a trail, Ramirez mused. But where does it lead? At their cheap motel, Olivia and Dex huddled over a laptop, trying to access the discovered account. Their designer clothes were wrinkled, their appearances showing the strain of their downfall. It's asking for his old password, Dex muttered. You must know it. Olivia typed quickly. He always used combinations of important dates. Our anniversary, his parents' birthdays. The screen flashed green. Access granted. We did it. Olivia's laugh held an edge of hysteria. Quick, let's transfer the money before. Before what, Mrs. Hayes? They spun around. Ethan stood in the doorway, his expression cold and controlled. Behind him, Detective Ramirez emerged from the shadows, badge in hand. Attempting to access restricted financial accounts, Ramirez recited. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Planning to flee prosecution. Want me to continue? You set us up, Olivia whispered, staring at Ethan. This whole thing was a trap.
No, Olivia.
You set yourself up. I merely provided the opportunity for you to reveal your true nature. Dex lunged forward, muscles tensed for attack. You smug bastard. Ethan stepped aside smoothly, letting Dex's momentum carry him straight into the waiting arms of 2 police officers. Assault added to the charges, Ramirez noted dryly. You can't do this. Olivia screamed as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. I'm your wife. Ex-wife, Ethan corrected. And you're also under arrest for multiple counts of financial fraud, conspiracy, and attempted theft. The evidence is quite comprehensive. He held up his phone, playing back recordings of their plotting. Each conversation, each scheme, each plan to steal and flee captured in perfect clarity. The spyware, Olivia realized. All this time, Ethan confirmed, you thought you were the ones in control. That's what made this so easy. Detective Ramirez watched him carefully. You orchestrated all of this, led them right where you wanted them. I simply created the circumstances, Ethan replied smoothly. They chose to commit the crimes. Everything is documented, legal, and admissible in court. As the officers led Olivia and Dex away, Ethan turned to Ramirez. I believe you'll find all the evidence you need in these files. He handed her a thick folder. Their attempts to flee, their financial crimes, everything. You knew I was watching you, Ramirez said. Used it to your advantage. Detective, in my experience, the truth is the best weapon. I simply made sure all their crimes were properly documented. Back in his penthouse, Ethan poured himself a drink and called Ava. It's done, he reported. They took the bait exactly as predicted. You did it. Ava's voice held a mix of admiration and concern. They're finished. Not quite yet. Now comes the legal devastation. Call my father. Tell him it's time for Phase 2. Chapter 8. The Fallout. The courtroom buzzed with tension as Daniel Hayes presented the evidence against Olivia and Dex. Surveillance footage, financial records, text messages, and recorded conversations played on screens while the jury watched in stunned silence. The defendants didn't simply commit adultery. Daniel addressed the court. They conspired to defraud my client of millions, plotted to flee the country with stolen funds, and attempted to destroy his reputation in the process. Olivia sat at the defense table, her designer outfit replaced by department store clothes, her perfectly maintained appearance showing cracks under the pressure. Beside her, Dex slouched in his chair, his muscled frame tense with impotent rage. The evidence will show, Daniel continued, a systematic pattern of deception and theft. Text messages planning to drain accounts. Recordings of conversations plotting their escape. Financial records showing unauthorized transfers and attempts to hide assets. In the gallery, Ethan watched impassively as his father dismantled his ex-wife's life piece by piece. Detective Ramirez sat nearby, her sharp eyes missing nothing. "Permission to approach, Your Honor," Daniel requested, holding up a new file. "I have here documentation of Mrs. Hayes's previous similar schemes. A pattern of seducing wealthy men, attempting to gain access to their assets, then moving on to new targets." Olivia's face paled as her past unraveled before the court. Each relationship, each failed scheme, each victim laid bare for all to see. During a recess, Ethan met with his parents in a private conference room. "You're doing the right thing, son," Margaret assured him, squeezing his hand. "They need to face consequences for their actions." "I know, Mom. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about justice." Daniel reviewed his notes. "The prosecution is pushing for maximum sentences. With the evidence we've provided, they don't stand a chance." Back in the courtroom, Olivia's attorney attempted damage control. "My client admits to poor judgment, Your Honor, but these accusations of systematic fraud are supported by extensive evidence," the judge interrupted. "Evidence that has been meticulously documented and verified." Dex's lawyer wasn't faring any better. His client's recorded threats against Ethan, combined with the attempted assault and conspiracy charges, painted a damning picture. Detective Ramirez testified about finding them attempting to flee, describing their desperate attempts to access the planted account. "And Mr. Hayes's involvement?" the defense attorney asked. "Mr. Hayes provided evidence of ongoing crimes," Ramirez stated clearly. "He documented illegal activities and reported them to the proper authorities. Everything he did was within the law." Social media exploded with updates from the trial. Olivia's remaining followers abandoned her as the true extent of her deception became public. Dex's fitness empire crumbled as clients demanded refunds and investigations revealed fraudulent practices. During her testimony, Olivia tried one last manipulation. "I only wanted to be loved," she sobbed. "Ethan was so cold, so distant. I felt neglected." "Yet these messages," the prosecutor interrupted, displaying screenshots, "show you bragging about manipulating Mr. Hayes. Discussing how you plan to, quote, bleed him dry and disappear." In his office later that night, Ethan reviewed the trial footage with Ava. "They're finished," she noted. "The jury couldn't even look at them by the end." "Good. Have you released the final evidence to the media?"
Going out now.
"Their complete history of scams, frauds, and manipulations. By morning, they won't have a single supporter left." The next day's headlines were brutal. Influencer power couple exposed. Inside their web of lies. Fitness guru's empire built on fraud. Society wife's secret past. A history of wealthy victims. Ethan watched the media frenzy from his penthouse, his expression unchanged as Olivia and Dex's carefully constructed world burned to ash. Chapter 9. The Redemption. The sentencing hearing was brief, but devastating. Olivia and Dex stood before the judge, their facades of confidence finally shattered. The evidence presented in this case reveals a disturbing pattern of deliberate fraud, manipulation, and attempted theft, the judge declared. The defendants showed no remorse, continuing their attempts to deceive even after their schemes were exposed. Olivia's shoulders shook as the sentences were read. 5 years for her, 3 for Dex, plus restitution and fines that would keep them in debt for decades. As they were led away, Olivia turned to make one final plea to Ethan. "Please, I'm sorry." His expression remained impassive. "No, Olivia. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference." Later, in his parents' home, Ethan finally allowed himself to process the end of his marriage. "I should have seen it sooner," he admitted to his mother. "The signs were there." Margaret hugged him tightly.
You saw what you wanted to see.
But when the truth came out, you handled it with strength and dignity. Your mother's right, Daniel added. You didn't let them destroy you. You turned their own actions against them. Ethan nodded, thinking of his weekly therapy sessions, not to heal from the betrayal, but to understand how he'd grown stronger through it. In her office, Detective Ramirez closed the Hayes case file, her thoughts troubled. Still bothered by how it ended, her partner asked. Hayes played it perfectly, she admitted. Used the law to get revenge, without ever breaking it. That kind of calculation, that control, it's almost frightening. But you can't argue with the justice of it. No, she agreed. I can't. A week later, Ethan met Ramirez for coffee. I knew you were watching me, he said without preamble. Used it to ensure everything was documented properly. You're a dangerous man, Mr. Hayes, she observed. Not in a way I can arrest you for, but dangerous nonetheless. Only to those who betray me, detective. Remember that. Back in his penthouse, Ethan surveyed his domain. The photos of Olivia were gone, replaced by his parents, Ava, true friends who'd stood by him. His phone buzzed, another news alert about Olivia and Dex's downfall. He dismissed it without reading. They were past, and he had a future to build. You know, Ava said from her spot on his couch, you've changed through all this. For the better, I think, he replied. I know who I am now, what I'm capable of. Just remember to use those capabilities wisely. He smiled, but there was steel behind it. Always. That's what makes me dangerous. The sun set on his empire as Ethan Hayes, no longer the trusting husband, but a man tempered by betrayal into something stronger, looked toward his future. He had survived, learned, grown. Never again would anyone mistake his kindness for weakness. In her cell, Olivia stared at old photos of their life together, finally understanding too late exactly who she had betrayed. Not the weak, pliable man she'd thought she married, but a force of nature who had destroyed her with her own actions. The ending wasn't happy, it was just. And in that justice, Ethan found his redemption. Epilogue. 5 years later. The glass-walled office of Hayes Financial stood as a testament to Ethan Hayes' success. From his position at the top of the building, he could see the city sprawling below, a kingdom he'd built from the ashes of his past. Mr. Hayes? His assistant's voice came through the intercom. Detective Ramirez is here for your annual lunch. Ethan smiled. Some traditions were worth keeping. Send her in. Isabella Ramirez entered, now a captain in the police force. Her sharp eyes hadn't dulled with promotion. Still working too hard, Hayes? Still suspicious of successful businessmen, Captain? They shared a knowing look. Their annual meetings had become a ritual since the trial, a reminder of how their paths had crossed and diverged. I saw Olivia's parole hearing was denied, Ramirez mentioned as they settled at a private table in his executive dining room.
Yes.
Apparently, attempting to run another scam from inside prison doesn't impress the parole board. Ethan's voice held no emotion. She tried to manipulate a guard into helping her access outside accounts. Old habits die hard. And Dex, released last year, working as a janitor at a small gym in Nevada. His social media influence is exactly zero. Ethan's lips curved slightly. He tried to restart his fitness brand. My legal team shut it down within hours. Ramirez studied him over her coffee. You still keep tabs on them? I keep tabs on everything, Captain. It's why I'm successful. And successful he was. Hayes Financial had grown into a powerhouse, specializing in protecting wealthy clients from exactly the kind of schemes Olivia had attempted. His experience had become his expertise. How's Ava doing? Ramirez asked. See for yourself. Ethan pulled up a news article on his tablet. Hayes Cybersecurity, our sister company. She's made it the top firm in digital protection. The article showed Ava Carter, now a renowned expert in financial cybersecurity, speaking at a global conference. Her company, backed by Ethan's resources, had revolutionized the field of protecting digital assets. Your parents? Retired in comfort. Dad still consults occasionally on complex cases. Mom's art gallery is thriving. Ethan's expression softened slightly. They're happy. After lunch, Ethan walked Ramirez to the elevator. Same time next year, Captain? Wouldn't miss it. Someone has to keep an eye on you, Hayes. Still don't trust me? I trust you to be exactly who you are. She stepped into the elevator. That's what makes you dangerous. Back in his office, Ethan reviewed the latest reports. His network of influence had grown far beyond his original revenge plan. Hayes Financial now specialized in identifying and preventing fraud, protecting clients from people like Olivia and Dex. His phone buzzed. A text from Margaret. Don't forget dinner tonight, sweetheart. Sarah's cooking. Sarah Chen, his wife of 2 years. A brilliant corporate lawyer he'd met during a complex fraud case. She'd seen through his carefully constructed facade immediately, recognizing the steel beneath the sophistication. Their courtship had been a dance of equals, each respecting the other's strength. Unlike Olivia's superficial charm, Sarah's beauty ran soul-deep. She understood him, accepted his ruthless side, while bringing out his capacity for genuine love. She never tried to change him, only challenged him to be his best self. In a minimum-security prison in upstate New York, Olivia Hayes stared at her reflection in the metal mirror of her cell. Her once-perfect features showed the strain of 5 years in confinement. Her latest scheme had failed spectacularly, adding 3 more years to her sentence. Her cellmate tossed her a newspaper. Your ex is in the news again. Another expansion. Olivia scanned the article. Hayes Financial launches new division protecting social media influencers from fraud. The irony wasn't lost on her. A photo showed Ethan and Sarah at a charity gala. He looked distinguished, powerful. The man she'd dismissed as weak now controlled an empire built partly on the ashes of her schemes. In Nevada, Dex Riley mopped the floors of a small desert gym. His muscled frame, once his pride, had softened. No one recognized him from his influencer days. His attempted comeback had been crushed by an army of Hayes Financial lawyers. His phone contained a single photo from his glory days, a reminder of how far he'd fallen. Each time he considered trying to rebuild his brand, a cease and desist letter arrived within hours. Ethan's reach was long, his memory longer. At the Hayes family home, Margaret arranged flowers while Daniel read case briefs in his study. Their son's transformation had surprised them, but they'd supported him throughout. Now they watched him build something meaningful from his pain. Ethan and Sarah will be here soon, Margaret called to her husband. Put the work away. Daniel smiled, setting aside a file. Their weekly family dinners had become precious traditions. They'd watch their son emerge stronger from betrayal, finding real love and purpose. In her high-tech office, Ava Carter monitored global cybersecurity threats. Hayes Cybersecurity had become legendary for preventing digital fraud. Her friendship with Ethan had evolved into a powerful business partnership. A notification popped up, another attempt by one of Olivia's prison contacts to access old accounts. Ava smiled, sending the information to the prison authorities. Some people never learned. At a downtown restaurant, Sarah Hayes reviewed contracts while waiting for her husband. Their marriage was a partnership of equals, each respecting the other's strength and independence. She understood the events that had shaped him, appreciated his complexity. Ethan joined her, kissing her cheek. Ready for dinner with my parents? Always. Your mom's been texting me recipes again. Their relationship was everything his marriage to Olivia wasn't. Honest, deep, built on mutual respect. Sarah never needed his money or power. She had her own. What they shared was a genuine connection between strong souls. Later that night, in their penthouse apartment, Ethan stood by the windows. Sarah wrapped her arms around him from behind. Penny for your thoughts? Just reflecting. 5 years ago, I thought trust was a weakness. Now I know it's about choosing who deserves it. She turned him to face her. You chose to trust again. That takes more strength than staying closed off. I chose wisely this time. He pulled her closer. Someone who matches me. Their home reflected their shared life. Her law books beside his financial reports, modern art she'd chosen complementing his classic tastes. No superficial displays of wealth, just elegant comfort and purpose. In his home office, a single framed document hung on the wall, the court judgment against Olivia and Dex. Not as a reminder of pain, but of transformation. Of learning to distinguish real love from manipulation, genuine connection from superficial charm. The next morning, Ethan reviewed applications for the Hayes Foundation's latest initiative, providing legal and financial support to victims of fraud. His experience had taught him the importance of helping others protect themselves. His assistant announced his first appointment, a wealthy businessman seeking protection from a suspected gold digger. Ethan smiled slightly, remembering how his own experience had led him to create this niche. "Send him in," he instructed, standing to greet his client. "And get me everything on the woman in question. Background, financial records, social media presence." Some called him paranoid. He preferred prepared. His network of investigators, lawyers, and cyber experts could unravel any scheme, protect any asset. He'd turned his pain into purpose, his revenge into redemption. At their weekly security meeting, Ethan and Ava reviewed the latest threats. 3 more copycats trying Olivia's old schemes, Ava reported. All shut down before they could do real damage. "Send the evidence to Ramirez's team," Ethan directed. "Let the system handle them." Their partnership had evolved beyond friendship into a formidable business alliance. Hayes Financial's clients slept soundly, knowing their assets were protected by people who understood predators intimately. Sarah joined them, bringing files from her latest case. "You'll want to see this." New type of social media scam targeting influencers. They worked seamlessly together, 3 strong personalities united by purpose. Sarah's legal expertise complemented Ethan's financial acumen and Ava's technical brilliance. That evening, at a charity gala, Ethan watched Sarah charming potential donors. Her genuine warmth stood in stark contrast to Olivia's calculated manipulation. She caught his eye across the room, her smile real and just for him. A junior associate approached with news about Dex. He tried to open a new social media account under a fake name. "We shut it down immediately." "Standard procedure," Ethan confirmed. "No need to be vindictive. Just maintain the boundaries." His revenge had been complete years ago. Now he simply ensured they couldn't hurt anyone else. His legal team kept them contained, his investigators tracked their movements, his security systems blocked their attempts to rebuild. In their private moment before bed, Sarah noticed his thoughtful expression. "Heavy memories today?" "Not heavy. Instructive." He pulled her close. "Everything that happened led me here. To this life, this purpose.
To you?
And here I thought you chose me for my fantastic legal mind. That too." His smile was genuine, reserved for her and family alone. The rest of the world still saw his controlled, professional facade. Their life together was built on strength, not weakness. Trust, not manipulation. Real love, not superficial charm. They faced the world as equals, each bringing their own power to their partnership. The next morning, Ethan reviewed the latest expansion plans for Hayes Financial. His empire had grown beyond revenge into something meaningful, protecting others from experiencing what he'd endured. His phone buzzed with a text from Ramirez, another one of Olivia's prison schemes uncovered. Adding time to her sentence, he archived the message without response. Olivia's attempts to regain control of her life were no longer his concern. She'd chosen her path, faced her consequences. His life had moved forward. Sarah's voice came through the intercom. "Ready for the Thompson case review?" "Send them in." He stood, straightening his tie. The man who'd emerged from betrayal was stronger, wiser, but not bitter. He'd built something meaningful from the ashes of his past. The sun rose over his city as Ethan Hayes, no longer defined by revenge, but by purpose, began another day of protecting others from the predators he'd learned to recognize so well. His story had evolved from revenge to redemption, from pain to purpose. And in a prison cell upstate, Olivia watched another sunrise through barred windows, understanding too late the magnitude of what she'd lost, not just wealth and freedom, but the chance to be part of something real and meaningful. The wheel had turned full circle. Justice, served cold but complete, had transformed victim to victor, betrayal to strength, revenge to redemption. Ethan Hayes had emerged not just successful, but triumphant, a man who'd turned his darkest moment into his finest purpose.
This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.